Hello, YouTube. So, back with a topic that's very, very near and dear and important to me in role-playing games. And this is a topic that's been floating around again on the role-playing community, but I haven't done a video on it, so now's the perfect time. So, immersion. Now, I've been watching a lot of videos on immersion recently to kind of gear myself up for this video. And some of the recent ones, oh my goodness, I've been horrified by these videos. They, no offense to anyone out there, but, with immersion being so important to me, this is the reaction I've been getting to people making videos on immersion. Their reactions to immersion have been either meh or nah, immersion, I can do without it. And oh my goodness, that's just shocking to me. Immersion is so important. It's like one of the reasons I play role-playing games. If I didn't have that, I don't think I would be in role-playing games. I'd be playing board games or video games. But anyway, let's define immersion and work from there. So, immersion in a very basic sense is when you become so invested and so focused on something that the whole rest of the world sort of drops away, that you're completely focused on it and nothing, the outside world drops away. Now that can happen in almost any experience we have. It's a psychological thing that us humans have. You could get immersion from watching a movie, excuse me, or you could get immersion from something as simple as driving. Oh yes, driving immersion, how exciting, but it's true. So how much fun is certain types of immersion are definitely not what I'm going to be talking about here today. I'm going to be talking about character immersion. And that's something that's very unique to role-playing games. Sure, you could have, I suppose, character immersion in a video game, I suppose, or even in a board game, a little bit. But that's not... you just can't get the sort of character immersion you can get in a role-playing game. And by character immersion, I mean you become the character. You feel as the character feels, the emotions, the adrenaline pumping through their body as they're fighting the horrendous goblins on the blue ocean. That's an example. Or you can hear the wind whistling through your whistling past your ears as you stand upon the mountaintop as your character. It could be, you taste that delicious meal, that home-cooked meal that the ogre made for you in their hovel. Those are all examples of immersion. You really feel as your character is feeling. You see things, you hear them, you taste them, you smell them. Those are examples of character immersion. True moments, true gems, because I'm a believer that this is the life we have, and we're kind of stuck with it, and we're not going to get another chance. So it's really cool that we can, this is one of those unique hobbies, one of those unique experiences where we can step outside ourselves and play in the shoes of another person. An experience that most human beings will never be able to experience, but it's wonderful. It's a great experience. So how do we get those excellent fun moments of immersion? And there are ways that we can encourage it. Of course, we can't necessarily force it all the time. There's just sometimes that it just doesn't work out. Maybe you're just not feeling it a particular night. Maybe you're not feeling well. Maybe the game master or the players are just not doing it for you. But there are ways that we can help it along. So these are the Anderwood's 3 steps, and I'm going to kind of break them down a little bit for you and give some of my interpretations of each step. So we have, here are the steps for deep immersive play. We have create a character, play the character, stay in character. All right, so creating the character. What's involved with that? Well, in order to have an immersive experience, you need to make a detailed character, one that is detailed enough with a background and a personality that while you're in character, you're able to know the things that your character knows. You need to do some research about what your character would know. If they're a carpenter, do a little bit of research about carpentry, just some basic knowledge. If they're from the underworld, do some research through the book about the underworld. You need to know the things, not necessarily everything the character knows, but try and get as much as you can, absorb as much of it as you can, so while you're in character, you can feel like that character. You can be able to, tell another player exactly what your character would know. So that's very important. Use the steps that I have detailed with, make sure you know what your character knows. Have some of the skills in your mind ready to go. Know, their combat moves, that sort of thing. That'll make things smooth, run by really smoothly when you actually start playing the character. So now that you created your character, it has a nice background, good, it's not, you want to avoid power gaming, obviously. You're trying to make a realistic character that you can actually play. So now that you're playing the character, how do you get into that immersion? Well, I have a little bit of bad news for you. In my experience, right off the bat, when you're starting to play in the first session, I would say, immersion, in a first session of a game, it just doesn't happen for me, for the most part. Sometimes it does, but as you're getting used to the character and their mindset, sometimes that can be really difficult to actually step into their mind until you're used to the way that they think. You start to develop that sort of thinking in your own mind. You sort of trick yourself into thinking like the character would, instead of thinking like, Andrew Van Roy would. So that's one thing, is give it some time. Be patient with it. It doesn't come just right off the bat. Second step. This is what I like to call fake it till you make it. Brother. Andrew Woodism there. But I get this from, this was advice that I heard a long time ago from my mother. And this was one of the things, is when I'm at work and I'm really having a really shitty day, in order to get myself in a better mood, you fake it until you make it. You act like you're happy, you smile more, you laugh more, even if you're really not feeling that way. That's a way you can actually change your mood. So when I use it in terms of immersion, fake it till you make it means maybe you're not feeling immersed, but you know what? Fake being immersed. Do your best to fake it. As the DM is giving a description of the cavern that you're in, maybe look around. Like actually, you, the player, look around. Try to imagine it in your mind. Feel, the dampness off the cave walls. Look around. Sort of ask for more description. Maybe you're like, you say, I feel the cave wall. The DM should be able to help the GM, the flame tender should be able to help you with that. They can help get you deeper into immersion. Really get a feel for it. Because again, in role-playing games, you have the control as the player. So, if you're not getting immersed, sometimes that's not your fault, but there's always more you can do to try to get yourself more immersed. So fake it until you make it. Fake being immersed, and eventually you will become immersed. But make sure with the next step is stay in character. Okay, so important, because if I've heard from a couple of people's videos that they say, well, um, sometimes immersion won't happen because you'll break out of character. Exactly. Never go out of character. Just avoid it at all costs. It's a bane to immersion. Absolutely stay in character as long as you can, and try and find a group. One thing that'll also help is if you're looking for a deep immersive game, obviously check out Within the Ring of Fire, because it's an excellent game for immersion. It has great tips in there. But besides that plug, look for other people who are into immersive games, because I don't know, there are some fools out there who I guess are not into immersive games. I don't understand it, but there are people out there who just aren't into it, and I guess would rather play a role-playing game that's more like a board game. So avoid those people. Look for people who are into that deep immersive style of role-playing game. And I guarantee you, when everyone is in character, feeding that energy, you can just feel it. It's palpable. Even on the internet, when you're playing a Google Plus game, you could just feel that immersion just building and building. And eventually, when you have that atmosphere of immersion, when you are faking it, fake it until you make it, when everyone around you is kind of building up, you eventually, it catches on like a disease from Azedaka. But it's just great. So definitely those are the things that I recommend. Those are my tips on how to be more immersed. So I will talk to you all later. Hope that this video was helpful. If you have any comments or questions, definitely hit me up in the comment section. I'm trying to respond to more people's comments. I'm not always the greatest, but I eventually will respond to your comments if you put them down there. And I will talk to you all later.